we've seen how the Tankan slumped, and prior to this, Japanese stocks have been pretty resilient to negative news. Not this time round, though. How much bad news has been factored into Japanese stocks right now?
Well, if you look at the headline valuations for the market, let's say forward PE, we have actually dropped as of a week ago back to below global financial crisis levels. So the forward PE is around 12 times. Having said that, though, there's clearly still incredible uncertainty regarding the outlook for corporate profits. And for instance, you mentioned that we have adjusted our earnings numbers, which we did, and our current forecast for Topic's EPS for fiscal 20 is for an 18% drop. And this compares to the current consensus, which is still calling for a rebound of about 8%. So that's a massive differential that we think is yet to be priced in. You know, obviously this coronavirus shock has been so sudden, and I think it will naturally take time for analysts to adjust and revise their estimates. So while the valuations do appear to be quite cheap for the overall market, we still think there is going to be continued bad news on the micro corporate front that will weigh down on the market for the foreseeable future.
And Kathy, just based on what we heard from the Tankan survey, do you think that the BOJ's policy settings have been supportive enough?
Well, frankly, I think it has been our a team's view that it is very difficult for the central bank at this juncture to significantly augment what they have already been trying to do in terms of easing monetary policy further. You saw the announcement that they recently made to expand, or rather double, their ETF purchase program from 6 to 12 trillion yen. So, of course, they are trying to do more on the asset purchase side of things. But when it comes to dropping rates further from the current already negative interest rate position they're in, that naturally comes with potentially very negative repercussions for Japan's banking sector. So it is our view that their options on that side are extremely limited, which leaves them with the only option, which is what the government has been talking about in recent weeks, which is really coming out with a very large fiscal spending package to help, companies, households cope with this shock.
Kathy, we often talk about PE. Can we trust PE when E is constantly changing?
That's exactly my point. So the PE at face value, if you believe that the consensus numbers are too optimistic, which is our view, then of course the PE is misleading. That 12 times, by the way, does incorporate our negative 18% EPS decline, as opposed to the current consensus view of an up 8% forecast. But even having said that, though, we still think that just given the lack of visibility, not just within Japan, but more importantly in the United States, which is a very large trading partner for Japan, that leaves us with some degree of uncertainty as to whether 18% is enough of a decline, or whether there could be more downside risks ahead.